Yes, yes. What is up, my friends? How are you today? I'm doing really great. I've been having an awesome day. It's really sunny and warm and beautiful here in Vancouver, but not too hot, which is nice. And yeah, I had a great time working on my book this weekend. It's coming along really nicely. I might read you some if we're might read you some if we got time. But today we are doing an AMA session, an Ask Me Anything session, and so I'm opening it up for questions to all of you out there in internet land, which will be pretty cool. And then in 1 hour, exactly 1 hour from now, over at Producer Dojo is the first class of the brand new Producer's Path 2.0. I'm really pumped. What is the Producer's Path, you may be asking? Well, let me tell ya. Did you know that you could be proud of the music you're making 90 days from now, even if you've never made music before? All it takes is a commitment to 5 minutes a day. Yep, just 5 minutes, and you'll embark on a transformative journey into music production and self-discovery. Can you spare that? I'm ill.GATES, and I've spent 20 years distilling my experiences with Grammy-winning artists, making tracks played over 65 million times into something epic for you, the Producer's Path. This isn't just a course, it's a gateway to mastering music production without needing expensive gear or prior experience. You don't need to be born rich, you don't need to be born gifted. All you need is a commitment to spending 5 minutes a day on music. The Producer's Path is a proven system that has supported top artists throughout the industry. And now it's your turn to access these secrets and forge your own unique sound. As you journey through the 12 levels of the Producer's Path, each step designed to build your skills and confidence, you'll not only learn music production, but also discover how to express your individual style, breaking the rules like a true artist. Join our vibrant Producer Dojo community, get feedback on your tracks, and maybe even feature on a Dojo mixtape. With no subscriptions and free updates for life, your path to music mastery is evergreen, and you can come back again and again and again, getting more out of it each time. So what's it going to be? Continue as is, or spend the next 90 days at the dojo transforming into the music producer you've always wanted to be? Listen to what your fellow dojo members have achieved with the Producer's Path. Their success stories could be yours.
I started from zero.
Dude, the way you laid it out,
Here's what you do first.
It's amazing.
The habit tracking changed my whole mindset.
honestly,
Huge breakthrough.
Huge difference.
comprehensive.
Game changers.
It gives me goosebumps.
Just blows my mind.
That's when I was like, okay, I can make music.
I'm actually doing some art.
Making music felt more real at that point.
To understand, hey, I'm doing this shit right.
I can show my children's children who I was.
Other people have been saying it sounds good.
And everybody's, oh, that's pretty cool. It's pretty exciting.
Never found the answer until I went to the Producer's Path.
Yeah, air horns. Producer's Path, starting today. All right, super pumped. So I'm going to kick it off answering some questions that were submitted by our members, and then I will open it up. One and only, I'm actually going to copy your question and put it into this little text document I got on the go, so you will be first up. Oh, it's majors in white on white. So I gotta turn down the caucasity on that question a little bit. Okay, there we go. Now I can read it. It is black. Okay, cool. So our first question was from Todd D. who is one of my favorite DJs, and he was my #1 DJ in the world when I was in high school. So it's pretty cool to have him in the Producer's Path. You rock, Todd. So Todd D. asks, can the morning pages work if they are done at another time other than first thing in the morning? So for those of you who don't know, I swear by an exercise that I learned from a book way back in the day called The Artist's Way. And I liked The Artist's Way so much and found it so helpful, despite its weird religious angles that I didn't really jive with. Despite all of that, I found that book so helpful that that's why The Producer's Path is called The Producer's Path. So that book, one of the cornerstones of that book, is that you make a habit of waking up first thing in the morning and just brain dumping onto pieces of paper with a pen. Just no wrong answers, no edits, no going back. Just fill the pages with words as fast as you can. And the only mistake is hesitation. And this exercise, especially when you do it first thing in the morning, your brain is kind of best for that first thing in the morning. And you train yourself to just like output and not edit when you're outputting, right? And that's a very important thing to do, because when you are an outsider and you're looking at what creative people do, it seems like it's like a really strategic thing, and like they're sitting there and like coming up with all of their ideas, and like it's all this grand strategy. Or you think of like deaf Beethoven composing entirely in his head, and you're like, that's a true artist. That's what it's like. But properly understood, art is a conversation between you and your medium, and you output without thinking. You see how you feel about it, and then you adjust, right? And I like to structure my creative sessions where I start with like what I call spark, which is like patient zero of ideas. It is a seed idea that I've collected. I'm constantly curating this folder of sparks, and I will select things to be sparks if, when I take them in, my mind suddenly goes, oh, I know what to do. And it just like knows, you know, like there are certain sounds where you hear a sound and you're like, I can hear the rest of the song in my head already. Or if you've always wanted to do a remix and you have a particular track in mind, you might have a pretty good idea of what you're going to do with that remix just from listening to the sample or whatever, right? And then that's kind of like a creative prompt. As a, you know, like if you're, let's say you're using Midjourney, you'd put in a creative prompt and then Midjourney would react, and you are fine tuning and going back and forth. Well, that's what making lots of art is like, even when you're not doing it with AI. And when you get writer's block, what writer's block is overthinking. Like there's no such thing as writer's block. There is only overthinking. And while you choose the path consciously, you walk it automatically. So you choose the path consciously, but walking is automatic, right? And that morning pages exercise trains you to output without thinking, without stopping yourself, without hesitating in any way, and just hit the gas. And that is honestly the thing that stops people from making art. Most people who try to make art and can't, it's because they have trouble starting. It's because they have trouble showing up. And like so much of it is just making a regular habit of getting in the studio every day and showing up and hitting the gas. And if you don't like what you made that day, whatever, you know, just don't share it with anybody. It's never wasted time. You're always improving your skills. You're always making parts and sounds that you can use. You're always improving your abilities with all of your instruments, and you're improving your abilities as a composer. There is no such thing as wasted time in the studio, unless you're just sitting there looking at the blank canvas, hating yourself. That's the only thing that's a waste of the time, right? So this morning pages exercise teaches you to just hit the gas, create first, ask questions later, take off your editor hat, put on your creator hat, and just buckle up and go, right? So while that exercise is best in the morning, it can be done at other times in the day. And really the only way to fuck it up is to just not do it. Right? And one of the great things that exercise has to teach us is that there is no way to fuck it up other than to not do it. And it's the same thing when you're making art. Like, you'll know whether you should release something or not. You'll know whether something's finished or not. You're not going to make a bunch of bad art and put it out if it's below your standards. Like, that's just not how artists are, right? So it's really just teaching you to hit the gas. you know? So if you do it in the morning, great. But if you got to do it at another time of day, that's fine too. It's better to just not miss it. Okay, so next question. So Scott Seldom, whose real name is Jason, but Scott Seldom is his artist name. He says, have you ever considered writing or presenting your expertise to a wider audience? The philosophy and psychology you present, I think, could be beneficial to all kinds of creatives. Well, yes. I'm currently working on a book. I've been working on it for a long time. It keeps getting better and better. I was going to initially have it be like a kind of like quick and dirty like guide to making music, like my first ebook was, the ill.GATES Guide to Producing. But I came across a bunch of new research that I think is really interesting and useful for artists. And next thing you know, I have like, this book is like a couple hundred pages and it's like full of cool research that I've learned about and everything. So until it stops getting better really quickly, I'm going to kind of like, you know, let it incubate for a bit. But my first book, like full-length book, The Producer's Path, is nearly done. And much of the research and content from that book is going into The Producer's Path 2.0. But yeah, there will be a book very shortly, and I'm super stoked about it. All right, so Leon says, I have a question about using silence as an instrument. Is there a way where you can use MIDI so that when a pad or key is held down, the channel audio is muted, but as soon as it is let go, the sound unmutes? When I map a pad or key to the mute, I currently have to push the pad once to mute and then once again to unmute. This doubles the number of times I need to press the pad to get a transform/gate effect. It would be great if there was a way to mute the audio for as long as the pad or key is held down. Yes, this was honestly that issue, like that exact issue was why people were so hyped on my DJ templates back in the day. Like this is a problem that has been frustrating Ableton users since like version 4 or something. And I solved that way back then. And there's a few different ways to solve that problem. But I will go over to Ableton now and show you how to do it. So there's a few different ways to do it. Right? One of the easiest ways here, I'll get some, I'll just get like some white noise and I'll just put some white noise here on this channel and I'll loop it and I'm going to turn that channel down a lot so that we don't blow your ears out. And now I'm going to go and put my ins and outs on and I'm going to route this white noise through another track. And this track is going to be, this is going to be for dummy clips. Okay, so this is the old school way to do it. I'll show you the old school way to do it, and then I'll show you the new school way to do it. So the old school way to do it is with dummy clips. And what a dummy clip is, it is a clip on a channel where you don't hear the clip because that channel is routing the audio that is coming from somewhere else, right? And then you can make clips of automation that you play so you can play the automations and not the audio. So to do that, right, I'm going to go to this white noise channel and I'm going to route the audio to dummy clips. But if I play this, we don't hear the audio coming through the dummy clips channel. Not yet. Oh wait, I got to put the loop on there. So we don't hear the audio coming through the dummy clips channel. And that is because the dummy clips channel needs to be set to monitor in. Now, right now, external inputs 1 and 2 are resampling, and I don't want to hear that. So I'm going to set the inputs on the dummy clips channel to no input. And then this in auto off in the IO, which you can go Command Option I, or no, Command Shift I? No, it's Command Option I to expand the IO. You can do that. Or you can go down to the bottom right here and click that and then expand the in and out there. But yeah, so when you expand that in and out, you'll see in, auto, and off. And this refers to the input monitoring, right? So if I put this to off or auto, we won't hear anything. But if I put it to in, now we should be hearing it. Here, I gotta put this to my system audio. There we go. So now we can see that there's audio coming through that. So if you want to make a clip where you play that clip and that clip silences the audio coming through, right? Well, what you can do is take a clip here, and I'm going to make this clip into the dummy. So this will be mute, right? So now when I play this clip, right? So I'll turn the white noise off. When I play this clip, see how you don't hear anything? That's because of that monitor in. If I set it to off, whoa boy, that's pretty loud. But yeah, you can see that that is coming through there. So now I just want this clip to control the volume. So if I right click on the channel volume and then I go to show modulation, now we'll see the channel volume and I can modulate this channel volume. So what I'm going to do now is go to the launch properties of this clip, which are here. And I'm going to set it to launch mode gate, quantization. I think it should be 30-second notes. And then I want to make one 30-second note, which is, that is half of a 16th note. I'll make one 30-second note of the volume being down. And then I'm going to take this off of loop. I don't want it to loop. And actually, it's been a while since I've done it this way because this is the old school way. Let's go back to session view. Yeah, so I'm going to put this loop like this, I think. Okay, that's the shortest loop you can make. Great. Okay, so now when that is playing, there we go. Maybe if I put it on launch, I think it might be launch mode repeat. It's one of these launch modes. Launch mode repeat, maybe? Let's see if I take it off loop. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, you put it on launch mode repeat. So when it's on launch mode repeat, this is gonna, as long as this first little 30-second note is playing again and again, so that's in the launch properties there. Quantize is 1/32. I wish it went higher. But as long as this launch mode is on repeat, when I hold this pad down, it will mute it. So here, I'll play the clip on the first channel. And now, so you can see that's happening when I do my push. So that's the old school way to do it, right? But the new school way to do it, you don't need to have dummy clips or a channel to go through or anything, right? I'll show you the new school way to do it. So new school way to do it, I'm gonna make a MIDI channel here. Thing. Okay, so I'm gonna put the envelope MIDI over on this channel and I'll call this muter, right? And now if I go map and then go to gain like that, and then I want to have this no velocity, no attack, no sustain, no decay, or no release, sustain all the way up, and then put this to -50. And now any note that I play on this will send that value down to the bottom. And when this sustain level is up, it will hold the mute. And then when I let it go, it'll unmute it. So. Oh, it's not quite muting it. So I'm going to go a little bit further negative. Yeah. Yeah, so just use the envelope MIDI to control a utility that goes from 0 dB at the top to all the way down. You could invert the utility if you want. I just like having things 0 at the top, because then if I go in here and use this envelope, I can modulate it down, but I can't modulate it up because that's just the way it works in Ableton. So I like to have things be dry at the top and then turn it down. But yeah, so that's, so you just have an envelope MIDI that does the muting. Or the other way is to have a dummy clip where you have a short little loop on launch mode repeat and then the quantization like as tight as it goes. And then you can hold the note down and that'll do it. So that's two different ways to accomplish a mute. All right, cool. So the next question is, I've been having trouble mapping the note parameter of Livestock Resonator to the incoming MIDI from its own channel. I've tried to use the expression control, but it seems like the mapping isn't one-to-one because the resonator's note values don't cover the entire 128 MIDI note spectrum. Do you have any workarounds for this? Adjusting the max min value for the key track in expression control doesn't seem to help. Okay, so let's go get the resonator. That's not a device that I often use, but that's okay. We'll figure it out. Oh, resonator track note by keyboard. Boom, Ableton forum. Yeah, because there's one for, okay. Okay, activate MIDI mapping for the resonator and press and hold C2. Then while still holding it, press C1 and C5. Right, okay. So then we can do that. So C2, hang on, let me see here. Yeah, so you'd have to do C2. Oh wait, that's sending MIDI into there. Yeah, I'm gonna kill this muter here quick. Okay, and then I'm gonna kill this remote. Yeah, because you can MIDI map a range. So let's see, is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5? Yeah, so that'd be the whole range of that. So okay, so set that to C2, Command M, press that note. And then that, oh no, wait, I gotta do track and I gotta do MIDI remote on SL3 remote. There we go. Now that's mapped to that range. There we go, C's, boom. Oh, no, not quite. Okay, I'll try it again. Delete. Is that a C? No. Oh, man. How many? Oh, wait. Okay, so C minus 1. Hang on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 0, 0. And that's C5. So it's 4 octaves. So it's 5 octaves. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It should be 5 octaves. Let me try this again. Oh, that's C6. What's this? C. That's C1 to C6. Oh, I got to go one more octave. Okay, so then I go octave up and then do it to C7. 5, C4. Yep, that's it. That's got it. Yay. Okay. So that was the answer. That was the answer. So yeah, you can MIDI map it. I'm surprised there's not a Max for Live device, but to be honest, it's not the, I kind of don't like the sound of the resonator that much. I normally would use something else for this particular task. So I'm not the biggest fan of the Ableton resonator, but that is how it does. That is how it does it. So yeah, there's a way. There is a way. Okay, so next question is, if you are a producer who also plans on doing live DJ sets, how much time would you spend on each? I mean, it's like DJing is kind of like, DJing is not really that hard. Like, it really isn't. DJing is actually pretty easy. So, oh wait, did I not have my keyboard on? Yeah, here, I'm going to show you now how that worked. Okay, so I went and Googled it. Yeah, sorry, I thought the keyboard was on. But yeah, this is the Ableton forum. Yeah, because you can map a key range. So you go into MIDI map mode, press in one key, and while you're holding it, press the other. And yeah, how I did that was, yeah, by doing that. Oh, did you guys see the, all right, I'm going to scroll up. Did you see me do the first question? Could you see Ableton when I was doing the, could you see Ableton when I was doing the mutes? I think so. Did you see Ableton while I was doing the mutes? I can't tell if you could see Ableton while I was doing the mutes. Hopefully you can see Ableton while I was doing the mutes. Damn it. I think I pressed the wrong button. Okay. So, but yeah, that's how that works. Yeah. And hopefully you guys saw the mutes. You saw the mutes? Okay, good. Okay, good. All right. So, yeah. Okay. So then, yeah, DJing is honestly not that hard. DJing is not that hard. So you really you got to have good taste, keep your mixes short and sweet at first, and dance around like a maniac. Do those 3 things and you're a passable DJ. Producing takes a lot more time and a lot more attention and a lot more artistry than DJing. DJing, as long as step 1, have good taste, is done, and step 2, keep your mixes short and sweet. People will forgive shitty mixing if you're playing awesome music and you're taking care to make sure that, you're not cutting the tracks too short or letting them drag too long, and then just, get that fader over quick. Don't try and double drop everything like they do on TikTok, because that takes a little bit of practice. But crowds don't really care. As someone who has spent forever doing live MIDI battles with KJ Saka, and then had other sets where I was bordering on blackout drunk and didn't really care, the crowds often will like the set where you're drunk and mixing badly better than the one where you spent months and months preparing every single aspect of the set live. That's just how people are. They don't care. The party is not about you, really. It's about them. They're just trying to party, get fucked up, feel cool, maybe get laid. That's it. They don't really care. They don't care about you. They're not really there to see you. They kind of are, but they're more there to hear the music that they like really loud, so they can be like, I'm cool. I like this music. It's really loud. This is where the cool kids are. Let's hang out with the cool kids, They're not really there to kind of be impressed by your skills. They might be impressed by your production skills, but unless you're going to a DMC battle DJ event, they kind of don't care. So I would say for sure spend your time producing, the vast majority of your time producing, because I could teach someone to be a passable DJ in a weekend. Those 3 steps, have good taste, keep your mixes short and sweet, and dance around like a maniac. If you do those 3 things, you can not even beat match and people will love it, right? No one cares about whether you're using the sync button. DJs on Reddit care about that, but in the real world, no one gives a fuck if you're using the sync button. And, they just don't care. They just want the sound system to sound good. Don't redline the mixer too bad. Don't leave your EQs at 12 o'clock, just let the tracks do the work and play really good songs, and just make sure you're not ruining the songs, and keep your transitions short. And that's it. That's all you have to do. And if you have if you have doubt about your DJ abilities, or you have doubt about the setup, what I used to do when I'd play Burning Man and stuff is I would have my normal set if I knew the equipment was good, but sometimes you're playing and there's no monitors, or there's one turntable or something because it's Burning Man, and you still want to be able to rock it because people biked across Burning Man to go see you. So I would make these 10-minute long mixes in Ableton where I'd be okay, if I'm gonna play Moombahton, I'll put make this super crazy Moombahton mix where there's acapellas and all this shit that I couldn't do live. And then I would just burn it into a 10-minute chunk with whooshing noises or a sample from a movie at the end so that I didn't have to beat match. And then I'd be okay, I'm going to play that seg. If they love it, I'll play Moombahton chunk 2. If they don't love it, I'll switch to breaks or glitch hop or dubstep or whatever. And I would just have a bunch of these 10, 15 minute chunks that are prepped so much crazier than anything I could do live, and have a bunch of those so that basically every 10 minutes you just have to play whooshing noises and fade it over. I love DJing and battle mixing and all that, but if you can't hear what you're doing, or there's one turntable, or there's maybe one of the channels on the mixer goes out, or your headphones break or something like that, if you have your set prepped like that. And I know DJs who that's how they play. They'll just play a mega mix every 10 minutes. They used to call that a mega mix back in the day, but people would make these crazy DJ set sounding things that would be like a battle DJ set, but made on the computer and perfect. And then you can just play 10-minute chunks of insane perfection that no DJ could ever do. right? So like if you do that and you have custom shit like that you're playing in a set, people kind of don't care about the rest. Okay. All right. So now let's get to some of these other questions. But yeah, don't really worry about DJing. Like DJing, even if you get like amazing, honestly, people don't really care. Okay, so Ghost, how do I get organized? I have so many songs that I start and get 80% done. I don't really have a system for keeping track of my songs and their progress. I'm a producer and artist and feel so overwhelmed. Okay, well, I mean, all that stuff is covered in the course, The Producer's Path, which starts in 15 minutes. Yeah. So I would say go to theproducerspath.com and sign up because you sound like exactly the kind of person who could benefit from the Producer's Path. But to answer your question really quickly right now, if you get to 80% done and you get stuck, render stems at high sample rate and high bit rate and everything, like render them out at like, double your normal sample rate. So like 88.2 if you work at 44.1 or 96K if you work at 48, and then 32-bit on the samples, and just render them all out as stems, and then load up a project full of stems and finish from there, because that makes it so much easier. And as long as you don't have sounds overlapping in your stems, then you're fine. Like if you worked on it enough to get stuck and you're not like, I need to change this by the time you get stuck, you can make it into a stem and you're not going to be sad. You can just go back. Okay. So I would say, yeah, fuck organizing shit in folders, fuck like color coding shit. Like that's procrastinating. That's just procrastinating. You don't need to do like the Command F, like whenever you're doing Ableton and anything, like let's say I'll go, Command F, one knob filter. There's my filter, down, enter. I don't have to have a folder to get that out. Like I just know what it's called, So just know what things are called, like name things so that you can search them out, and then use Command F. Like you never need to be organized. And like, all this stuff is like as complicated as you make it. Just don't make it complicated for yourself. Render it all to stems and remix yourself to finish. It's so much easier. Okay, so Fox, what are some good exercises that you would recommend to beginning DJs that are also new to producing? Are there elements of production you recommend focusing on when learning to DJ? One of the best things you can do when learning to DJ is go 1-for-1 with your friends, and have the goal be to mix as quickly as possible. And if you screw up the mix, the other person gets to do 2. And that's like the best way to practice, because you're supposed to practice like mixing, and you're supposed to practice in a way that it's hard. And if you're coming out of someone else's track that you don't know, that makes it harder. And if it's time pressure, that makes it harder. And if you fuck up and then they get to do 2 in a row, that's like kind of a very mild consequence for fucking up. And you can play, like, if you have the right friend, you can be playing like 30 seconds to a minute of a record and just going back. And then it makes for really good sets. So I like to like go back to back with a friend, just doing 1-for-1 speed mixing challenge. And then if you fuck up, they get to do 2. So that's a really good way to do it. And then if you're learning to DJ, make yourself a bunch of get out of jail free cards. Like I have all kinds of songs, quote unquote, that are just like granular time stretching for 1.5 minutes, or a sample from a movie with a drone for 1.5 minutes, or a really long riser with sirens for 1.5 minutes. And if you legit like can't find a mix for something, just play one of those, let it rock, and then play the next thing. And then you can get out of jail free, if you're in trouble. And then always like keep a selection, like whether it's using ratings, like 5 stars, or putting exclamation marks at the beginning of the file name, but just have some things that you can just play from the beginning that will be super awesome and will get the crowd going, so that if, God forbid, one of the CDJs breaks or something goes horribly wrong, you have these tracks that you can just, you just put that on from the beginning and people will lose their minds. So make sure that you have your transition tools at your fingertips, and make sure that you have the like instant dance floor killers at your fingertips. And then like if you fuck up here and there, it's not really that big a deal. No one really notices or cares. Okay. Here we are. Any more questions? Yes, Ghost, this video will be available on, after this. I'm going to leave it up. Okay, scrolling down. Any more questions? What is the best DAW/cheapest version I need to buy to start on the producer's path? I mean, just a free Ableton demo. I would say Ableton all the way. Like, I love Ableton. But yeah, as long as you have like a copy of Ableton or like any DAW, really, like most of what I teach is in Ableton, but you can kill it on like a phone, you know, like it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. As long as you understand the principles of composition, you can make music on anything. You know, as long as you know how to compose, how to sample, etc. Okay, next question. Scrolling down. Yeah, Reaper is free too. If you want a free DAW, but I mean, definitely Ableton. And you know, I always buy everything used because you can get like so much discounts on used things. And then if you bought it used, you can just sell it for more than you bought it for. Okay. Scrolling down. What are some tips among consistency among song selections? I mean, just practice, you know, just practice and you'll hear when they're inconsistent. Okay, scrolling to see any other things. Okay, cool. I think that's all the questions. See, I'll scroll down to the new ones. Yeah, Ableton Note is pretty good. Ableton's pretty note. Yeah, I definitely yeah. I think someone's commenting on my Kendrick as a video suggestion. I was following the Drake Kendrick battle really closely last week, and I ended up and now I'm like I get all kinds of Kendrick stuff all the time. Okay, so I'm gonna go to read you now a chapter from my book that I wrote the other day, if we still have time, and then we're gonna go to the producer's path because I'm pretty stoked about this book. Okay, so this is the chapter called Start with Why, because a lot of people want to know where to start, and whether you're in the producer's path or not, you should start with why. So here we go. There's a great book and viral TED Talk by Simon Sinek called Start with Why, and it contains fantastic insights for artists, entrepreneurs, and all those seeking to live a more fulfilling life. If you ask any successful person why they do what they do, you'll see their eyes light right up. They always have a good answer for you, and they'll respect you for asking that question. Back in the early days of what went on to become Glitch Hop, I was asked to host a young Dave Tipper at my house for a week as a condition of booking him for a couple underground parties. He had the run of my studio and smoked me under the table every night while we talked about science fiction, music making, and philosophy. During one of those little chats, I asked him the same question, and Dave said, why? The only question worth asking. This is why Tipper's unofficial logo is a question mark, appearing prominently on album covers and merch throughout his legendary career. Why is the foundation of everything you'll ever do as an artist, and it's the magic knife that cuts bullshit like butter. Those who never ask why live their lives like automatons, giving their minds away to whomever plays best, to the biases they unconsciously seek to confirm. Your entire creative life depends on the ruthless and repeated use of this incredible metacognitive tool. Even the word has become beautiful to my eye. I could look at it all day long. Why? So, conducting your why analysis. Step 1, reflect on your initial attraction. Recall a moment when you were powerfully drawn to music, maybe a live show or festival. What aspects of music captivated you? Was it the beauty, the joy of self-expression, the exhilaration of performing, the escapism music offered, or the connections it helped you forge with others? Which is the memory that you would least like to be erased? Step 2, evaluate your current motivations. Reflect on what currently sustains your involvement in music. Have your motivations evolved? Are you steered by the pursuit of recognition, the impulse to innovate, or the necessity to communicate a specific message or emotion through your art? Step 3, envision your ideal future. Envision your perfect musical journey. What specifically does it entail? Are you touring globally or shaping the next musical generation from a mysterious pedestal? Maybe you're creating bespoke works for a highly discerning audience. Maybe you only make music for yourself. Understanding your aspirations can provide clarity to your motivations. Now, embracing your desire for success. Many musicians grapple with acknowledging their desire for success, fearing perceptions of materialism or straying away from the authentic path. It's vital to recognize that aspiring for success in your own definition is valid, whether it's financial reward, widespread recognition, or impactful artistic expression. Acknowledging the desire for your own success is a crucial step if you are to pursue your goal with both enthusiasm and integrity. You won't go very far without integrity, and you won't get anywhere at all without enthusiasm. A word of caution. While there's nothing morally wrong with seeking fame or money, it does have a downside when it comes to creativity. We know now that there are two main types of motivation: intrinsic motivation, which is internal, and extrinsic motivation, which is external. Prior to Ed Desi's breakthrough self-determination theory in 1971, it was believed that extrinsic factors were the primary drivers of human behavior, that we sought merely to gain rewards and avoid punishments. While the carrot and the stick are undeniably effective when coercing drudgery, they are significantly less useful in creative fields. Ed Desi proved this by paying people to do fun things until they hated doing those fun things. It's hilarious, dark, and utterly brilliant. This explains why second album syndrome plagues successful bands and why so many years of art school made me switch to music. My firsthand experience of this extrinsic motivation effect is the reason I don't grant diplomas at Producer Dojo. Once you know about this effect, it becomes easier to counteract though, so you don't have to actively shun external rewards or anything like that. Just be aware and act accordingly. It probably won't be a problem, and if it does become a problem, it means you got rich and famous, so it's not the worst problem a person can have. The top 5 regrets of the dying. As a hardy survivor of the demotivating effects of extrinsic reward, I'd like you to take a moment to reflect on the wisdom shared in Bronnie Ware's famous book, The Top 5 Regrets of the Dying. Ware was a hospice nurse in the UK whose job it was to comfort senior citizens as they prepared to face their inevitable and imminent death. Over years of this saintly work, she noticed the same 5 regrets coming up over and over again. After publishing a book on the topic, her observations were repeatedly confirmed by extensive research all over the world. The top 5 regrets of the dying are: I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself, not the life others expected of me. I wish I hadn't worked so hard. I wish I'd had the courage to express my feelings. I wish I'd stayed in touch with my friends. I wish I had let myself be happier. These insights serve as poignant reminders, urging us to prioritize what truly matters, infusing our musical journey with purpose and passion. By embracing these regrets as lessons learned from others' experiences, musicians can channel them into a powerful intrinsic drive, propelling them towards artistic fulfillment and personal growth. Let's delve into how these regrets can be transformative pillars that guide you on your quest for excellence and authenticity. Friedrich Nietzsche. The infamous firebrand of German philosophy, Friedrich Nietzsche has a lot to offer musicians, but I'd like to take a moment to reflect on his greatest contribution to my own life, the eternal recurrence thought exercise. The original language is a bit old-fashioned, so I'll recreate it now for your modern sensibilities. Take a deep breath, really, and when you're ready, we'll go. No rush. All right. So imagine for a moment that you're dead, but somehow still consciously experiencing the passage of time. Instead of going to heaven or hell, you find yourself somewhere else. As the dim lights slowly come up, you realize you're in an old-timey movie theater, sitting in one of those velvet chairs with the ornate backing that matches floral-themed relief work framing the thick curtains on the stage. A figure in a tuxedo walks to the center of the stage, tracked by a hand-operated spotlight emanating from the back of the theater somewhere. No matter how accurately the spotlight follows your host, his face remains a void of blackness impenetrable to your gaze. The man-shaped shadow gestures broadly with his white-gloved hands, causing you to glance furtively at the empty seats to your left and right. You felt alone before, but now you're certain of it. It is clear that this introduction was for your benefit alone. The lights suddenly snap off, plunging the theater into darkness once more, making the sound of hands cranking the curtain opening mechanism all the more unsettling. A needle drops onto a scratchy old record as the movie begins to play, opening with a hospital scene that seems strangely familiar. As this scene unfolds without edits or pacing, you realize first that it depicts a birth, and then the hairs on the back of your neck prickle as you realize which birth specifically. The woman in the film is your mother, and the birth is your own. Over days, hours, then days, then years, you watch your own life play out on that screen with no way to fast forward or rewind. The doors of the theater are all fake, leading only to the opposite side of the same space like an 8-bit video game without memory or budget for additional levels. Eventually, you tire of escaping and sit back down to watch the film of your life looping over and over and over again forever. Imagining this scenario as vividly as possible, I want you to ask yourself, how do you feel about the events depicted in this real-time film version of your life? By whose standards do you judge your actions as the protagonist? What do you love about it? What do you hate? What makes you bored? While this exercise is admittedly imaginary, we all have to face a version of it in our real memories. Eventually, everyone who told you that you should be doing X, Y, or Z will be gone. And it will only be you reviewing your life like a movie. An audience of one, forever and ever to the end of time. Choose your actions wisely, friend. You only get one take. Story time. All right, so Ionize was a long-term student who became one of my best friends and collaborators. His initial success was in the trap genre, working with rappers like Prodigy, Ghostface, and Gucci Mane. Ionize is why I got to do that Polar Bear remix. He's a boss. Over time, Ionize music became more production-focused, and now he makes heavy bass music instead of trap. Nicola, aka Tesco, was initially driven by the pursuit of fame as an electronic music DJ, a common ambition among my students. But through our sessions, he unearthed his true motivation, connecting emotionally with others through melodies and lyrics which deeply explore universal emotions. This awareness not only refined his songwriting approach, but also aligned his career decisions with opportunities for a more authentic and meaningful relationship with his audience. He's in a killer band now and couldn't be happier about it. Rip Kenny used to make breaks under an entirely different name when he first came to the dojo. His passion for music propelled him through the belts until he became a sensei himself. Through his work at the dojo, he found a whole new style and millions of listeners. Now strangers on the street will come up to me and comment on my Rip Kenny t-shirt. It's awesome. While these three artists all took different paths, their destination was the same, a deeper level of fulfillment. We all start out playing a role we feel others expect. And that's fine at first, but most often artists make their best work when they go after what they want for themselves. It's one of those paradoxical situations where you really do serve others best by putting yourself first. So if you're waiting for permission, here it is. There is absolutely nothing wrong with wanting this success for yourself. And in my opinion, the very best reason to make music is because deep down, you know you just need to. I can't imagine living my own life in any other way. All right, lots of love, everybody. That's our session today. I'm going to go change the stream over to the producer's path and do class number 1. I'm so stoked. But yeah, sign up. You won't regret it. It's going to be fun. All right, peace. I'll see you in the new member.